Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well this bright and early Saturday morning. So, as you know, on Saturdays, the ish factor is in full effect when it comes to being live. I was sleeping and I had a margarita last night, and I guess I hadn't realized that I haven't had one in a while and knocked this girl out. So I hope everyone is doing well. And today is Behind the Scenes Saturday. And I'm going to go behind the scenes and tell you a couple of things that happened when I did my most recent speaking engagement. So let me just, oh my gosh, I have updates for the computer. So it's hopefully the computer doesn't decide to update on its own. I hate when that happens. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit of behind the scenes, because every Saturday I like to do behind the scenes and tell you what's going on with my business. And today I'm going to talk about one of the most epic speaking gig fails ever. I've had some interesting speaking gigs, but this one was a pretty epic one, and it was epic on both sides, but I will always take the blame that it was my fault for not doing my due diligence to be prepared for what happened. So I'm going to talk about that. So if I'm popping up in your feed, in your life, I am Phylecia Jones, budgetologist and solopreneur money management expert. And you are watching Ask the Budgetologist. I come to you every morning and I answer any questions you have about business, budgeting, and solo entrepreneurship. And of course, I answer, I forget what I give you unsolicited advice. It's Saturday, y'all. Give me a moment. I had happy hour yesterday. so, so of course I give you any unsolicited advice. So anytime you need some help, just let me know. Now I come to you live here on Instagram and over here on Facebook. So for those of you on Instagram, if you ever want to join the party, it's facebook.com/keep up with Mrs. Jones. For everybody else, if you want to see all the kind of cool photos and what's going on Instagram, I'm actually going to jump into this IGTV thing. So I'm just letting you know. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to jump into it. So you can go over to @keep up with Mrs. Jones over on Instagram. So I got to give a shout out and a good morning to Ann and Heather and Beatrice. How are you doing this morning? So, and also, if you all need any help, all you got to do is book a session with me. Keep up with Mrs. Jones.com/jumpstart. And my last little PSA, I got to give a shout out to my beautiful folks over at WordCamp Birmingham. So last year I was a speaker. WordCamp Birmingham is coming up. I won't be able to attend this year, so I gotta take off the show title so that you can see my name. So this is their shirt is YP, y'all. It was a fun group, and I gotta just give a shout out to all the folks at WordPress Birmingham, WordCamp Birmingham. I won't be able to attend. I hope you have an amazing event this year, and I will be speaking at WordCamp Denver. So if you ever want to hang out with some WordPress nerds, or with me, I'm kind of a nerd. So if you ever want to hang out, it's $20, and they give you margaritas and tacos and lunch. Come on. You are never going to have a conference and it's like jam-packed with great classes. So make sure if you are in the Denver area, buy your ticket for WordCamp Denver. I will put the put the link down in the comments as soon as I'm done. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So recently I did a speaking gig. I had to travel to it. So I was booked for one gig in one place. So I was booked in, I'm trying to talk about this without like calling people out. So just kind of work with me. If you get confused, let me know. I'll break it down again. So a year ago, I was booked to speak at one particular networking meeting. So I was to do that, and they had multiple meetings, but over time they canceled and went to one meeting. So in a different city, there's another group, and they try to do a tag along. They say, well, just to make it worth your time, hey, Angela, just to make it worth your time, we would love to book you the day before for this group so that, if you're doing all that travel, let's make it worthwhile and you get, bang for your buck type thing. And I was like, okay, that didn't sound too bad. So over time, I didn't hear anything about it. So I was booked for the main talk. Okay. That was it. I knew I was going to be at that place at that certain time doing that one. So about 3 months before that, I get an email. They were like, oh my gosh, so we would love to book you for this other one just to help us all out because this person is having issues booking speakers. I was like, okay, we're gonna be in the area. It's a 3 hour drive difference, so okay, I can add this on. It's no problem. It's just an extra day, so I just got to get there earlier. So, and I didn't ask much about it. I knew I did all my research, and you know me, you all know me. I do my research before I go do a speaking gig. So I did my research for the place that I was booked, and I was set. I was expecting about, I don't know, about 60 people and things like that. So that was good. I already had the details for that one, and they provided me communication. For this other one, didn't have a lot of communication. And I just kind of trusted, sometimes I will say as a speaker, sometimes as a business owner, you kind of trust the situation. Sometimes you don't ask too many questions and you just kind of go along with it. And I was like, all right, that's cool. So what happened is that when I got to the first place, hey, Lori, how are you doing? Today, I'm talking about, for those of you who are coming in late, I'm just talking about one of my most epic speaking gig fails, which was all completely my fault. And so I'm just telling this long story. Hey, Paige, I'm texting you. We got to catch up. So I got booked for the main talk, did my research, knew who I was going to be talking to, all that. For this extra one, I kind of didn't know what was going on. And I kind of just trusted the process. And I'm one of those that I always tell you, do your research. This was the one time I didn't do my research. So when I got to this speaking engagement, of course, I'm all prepared. I didn't prepare myself by asking the questions of like how many people will be here, what's going on, what's the situation, what's the layout. I just got the address and I knew where I was going to be. That's it. So I go to this engagement and I'm all prepared, got everything ready. I got my little sign up slips. I got all my stuff together. And so I get there. So I go into this room. It's a nice, beautiful room. They have 4 tables with about 6 people at each table, like 6 chairs. And so I've always told you, when you go into a room, count it really quick so that you'll know like what you got to prepare for. And so I always count the room when I get in. I count the number of seats, number of chairs, everything. So I did that and I was like, all right, it's going to be about 24. All right. That's pretty good for like a last minute kind of add-on speaking engagement. So we're just sitting there. I meet the host of the meeting and we talk and we're just chit chatting, and it was a little stiff, like not really sure what was going on. So I prepared myself, got my talk together. She put everything up on the screen. And so of course we wait. I get there. I usually get to my engagements about 30 minutes before, but I was staying at the same hotel. So it was kind of easy if I needed to run upstairs. So we do all of that. And then we're sitting. And of course it's getting close to time. And there's like 1 or 2 people that kind of drifted in. I'm thinking it's still early and I haven't been checking my watch, which is it's kind of rare for me not to be checking the time because I'm kind of like trying to always manage the time properly. So we get there and a couple of people come in and somebody did ask the question that I never asked. How many people are registered for today's meeting? And she says 6. I'm like, 6 people. Okay. Okay. I was like 6 people. And this is what I'm telling you. This is the epic fail on my part because I didn't do my research. And I didn't ask the right questions. And I'm not beating myself up. It's the lessons learned as you go through your speaking career, your business career. I mean, these are just straight up hard lessons learned. And sometimes you just get stupid. And I was. So I get there, so she's like 6 people. I was like, wow, 6 people are registered for today. And, as I go, I'm like, all right, 6 people. So when it's like that, oh yeah, Heather, it was crazy. So when I get into a situation where it's not a lot of people, and I've spoken in front of lots of people, big groups, little groups. And so when it's that few people, I typically change up because it's kind of weird for me to stand up and give a talk. And it's like, what, let's sit down and let's figure out tell me what you really want to learn. And I'm fine with that. I've had some of my best clients come out of situations like that, but I probably wouldn't have made the effort to go out of town for it, So as people come in and I start, and which is weird because the room was already set up for like 24, 30 people. And that's what threw me off. Like it was place settings and, whatever. So we go ahead and do that. And so as the meeting starts, there literally is only 4 people in the audience. I was 5, the host was 6. That was it. So basically, sometimes I don't include the directors and sometimes I do, but essentially I had an audience of 4 people. 4 people. And I was just like, wow, all right, didn't and this was one of those, I'm sitting there, I was like, geez, Phylecia, like, you really didn't, you dropped the ball on this one. Like, you dropped the epic ball on this one. And, and I just tell myself, like, man, you could have done better. You could have done better. And it was like all the rules that I've ever had about, make sure you do your research, make sure you do that. For this particular one, for whatever reason, I didn't. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to give myself an excuse. Here's an excuse for failing. Because I was booked for the other gig, and I was booked for 2 other engagements that worked out beautifully. The other person booked me for this one as an add-on, and you trust the system, you trust the person, and I was just like, all right, I will just trust it. And I was just sitting there, I was like, all right, 4 people, like this is a lot of effort for 4 people. But here's the thing that you all have to learn, especially for those of you who are speakers, if you're ever going to get on stage. Hey, Carol Ann, how you doing this morning? You still got to show up. You still have to show up. You still got to bring your A game. And I've seen this with other speakers who get upset, like visually upset when they see that the room is not what they thought it was going to be. And you could tell their energy goes from here to here and they're kind of like, yeah, whatever. And that was the thing, is that you still have to bring the energy. You still have to bring your A game. Now, the energy is going to be very different. The energy is still very different when you go from a room of 60 to a room of 4. And this is where, my epic fail is that I didn't do my research. That's my epic fail. It wasn't that bad, but that was my epic fail. I didn't do my research. I didn't plan properly. I didn't ask the right questions. And it started, it kind of gets to me because there was a lot of effort to get to this place and to get to this engagement, because it's not so much a money thing all the time. It's just that you still have to show up, be there, put on the cute outfit, put on the makeup, and still get yourself mentally prepared. And yes, Paige, you're right. You got to show up and do your best. You got to show up and still bring your A game, which I did. And I did ask them. I did ask. I was like, hey, I can do this a lot differently, because when it's that so few people, I really just start digging into what people really need. But they wanted the presentation. They wanted the slides. And so that is what I did. And they said it was actually really good. And I had people, and they actually stayed like an extra hour asking me tons and tons of questions around money and things like that, which was great, which was really, really great. And we had some great discussions on how to manage money, business, personal finances, marriages, allocations and things like that. But it was just very interesting. It was just very interesting. And then there were some other things that happened afterwards that were a little special. I'm not going to talk about that on live, because if you're friends with me, just message me, and I'll tell you what happened afterwards. It was crazy, like epically crazy what happened afterwards. So I'm not going to out it that bad on live stream, but if you're friends with me, just like seriously send me a message and I'll tell you what happened. I mean, it may not be as fantastic as you think it is, but it was just like epically crazy, because I was the last person to leave, and yeah, it was a money issue. Let's just say it like that. So good morning, Sally. Good morning, Rachel. If you guys have any questions, put them down in the comment box. So for those of you who are joining, this is Saturday. It's behind the scenes. I just talk about things that are going on in my business, where I'm going, some of the challenges, some of the epic fails that I've had. So please feel free to comment if you are a speaker, if you've ever had a situation like this where you were promised Or, it's not even a promise, but you assume something. And what did my friends always say? Like, you know what assume means? You makes an ass out of you and me. Yep, I assumed, and I got assumed handed to me on that speaking gig. So it was crazy. So Sally would say, would love to hear the rest of the story. How about wine and appetizers? Yes, because what happened after that deserves a glass of wine, Sally. It was I've never been in a situation like that before. And I know you guys are like, Phylecia, like, I hate you right now because I hate when people do stories like this and don't tell you the end. But it's crazy. I'm sorry. Pardon my ignorance, but what's the difference between speaking to six versus speaking to a lot of people? Hey Kevin, how you doing this morning? Actually, Kevin, there is no difference. There is no real difference. You still have to bring your A game. And so the epic fail is not so much that there were six people. Not so much that there were six people in the room. The epic fail is that I didn't do my research and I didn't ask and I didn't prepare properly. So that's my epic fail for someone who prides themselves on doing the research and being prepared before walking into a room. That's my epic fail. Speaking in front of 6 versus 60 technically is not different, but just on the backside of just being a speaker, it really is kind of different. Because me as a speaker, and I'm not sure about everyone else, I do feed off of the room. I really do feed off of a room. If it's 60 people that are laughing, having fun, that's great. Because the next speaking gig was very, very different. It was after dinner, and it was a different situation where everybody was loaded up with wine and carbs. Different situation, different type of energy. And going from 60 people who are alert and happy, excited, is very different to going to 6. And it's not so much the audience, it's you in the preparation mode. And the preparation is you still have to bring that A game and you still have to have that energy up and you still have to engage. And when it is 6 people, and this is something that I do when I get into a small room, I make sure I learn everyone's name so that when I talk, I can insert them into my talk. So that's where you just have to prepare a little differently. So when there are 6 people in the room, I have time to get to know them. I have time to get to know their names. And I employed all this, all of this so that it did work out. So at that time, I knew their stories. I knew something about their business and I was able to relate them into that talk because it was just 6. I mean, technically it was only 4 people. I was like number 5. I was able to relate them into the talk. When it's 60, you can't really do that very well. You can only like point out 1 or 2 people that you've met before, but it really is, when you go from 6 to 60, it really is just a mental game as far as the speaker. It's a mental game of how to observe the room and do it a little bit differently than when you do going from 6 to 60 to 100 to 500, different source of energy, and you have to prepare mentally a little bit differently. So Kevin, let me know if that answers your question. But the thing that doesn't change is that you still got to bring your A game, and your A game may change. Your A game may change just a little bit depending on the size of the room. Now, for me, my largest audience has been 200. Very, very different setup. Especially if they have lights, if they have teleprompters, if they got a stage, it's a very different energy when you go to 6 people in a more of a conversational thing. So let me know if that makes a difference, Kevin. And I hope you're doing well today. I hope you're doing well. Heather is saying, how many can I pick your brain requests did you get? LOL. You know what, Heather? I did not get that. I did not get how pick your brain requests. I think I think I've gotten into a certain energy that I don't get that all the time. I do give people my cell phone number and they can text me. And and here's the thing, I do have a separate cell phone number for business. And when I do that, I get very few can I pick your brains. People usually just send me their questions and I answer them over text or over here on the thing. So it's been interesting. I don't get a lot of pick your brain. And when I do get something like that, people just want to know how they can work with me. So I've kind of gotten out of the pick your brain energy. So that's really cool. Sally saying, let's private message a couple of options on it. Yes, we can get together, Sally. So it's just very different when you are just speaking in front of the numbers. And, and my epic fail, and this is where, I know the title is very dramatic. The title is very dramatic. I know, like, 'cause I'm a drama queen. No, I'm not. But it really was a failure on my part to not do my job. And I didn't do my job in that, and I do beat myself up. I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't engage with the speaker coordinator, or it really wasn't a speaker coordinator. Somebody had an assistant that reached out, and I didn't do my due diligence to understand the room, what the needs were of the room. And these are things that I tell you on the Tuesdays when I talk about speaking gigs. If you want to be a better speaker or get into better rooms, you got to start asking these questions. And now the thing is, if I had known beforehand that there were only going to be like 4 to 6 people, would I have gone? That's the question. And at this point of where I am speaking, I probably would not. I would not have gone. When I was first starting off speaking, those small rooms, they were fine. I can just go, get the practice. And you know what? You can always practice. I probably would not have made the effort to go, because I left the country. I left the country to go do this. So the other gigs were great. The other gigs had no problem. This was just an add-on. So I wouldn't have made the effort to do that one. If it was 4 to 6 people and it was local, I would have done it, because those are times that I can either practice new talks. I can practice new talks because a small group is a little bit more forgiving. A big group is not as forgiving because usually you have time issues. And that's the only cool thing about when the group is small. They're very lenient with your time. And so that's why you can get away with it. But I probably wouldn't have made the effort to go so far to do the gig, even though it turned out great. I mean, I met some amazing people that I'm actually still talking to right now. But there's a thing of where you're trying to go with your speaking, and making those very hard decisions on whether or not big rooms, small rooms, and I won't call it a waste of time, but it just depends on where you're trying to progress as far as a speaker. Heather was like, nice. Hey, Tiffany, how are you doing? And Sally said, no one's perfect, so don't beat yourself up much. I am sure you enjoyed the journey there and back. I'm always my biggest critic, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you're your biggest critics. But yeah, the journey was fun. But you know what? You got to take these journeys so that you can learn. You got to take these journeys so you can learn. Because I meet so many people that want to be speakers, or that are starting. And it's like, yeah, I don't waste my time with things like this. But this is part of the journey. You got to learn what you don't want to do. You got to learn how to be a better researcher. I mean, seriously, this is how I've learned to be a better speaker and to book better gigs, because I had to learn the hard way on some of these situations. I mean, I've been in situations where people are pumped up. Yeah, we're going to get 500 people into a room, and you get there and there's 25. I've been there. I've been where we only expect 15 and you end up with 80. So you just kind of learn as you go. But the one thing that has to stay constant and consistent, you have to be on your A game. You still have to deliver. You still have to deliver. You still have to give great content, and you still have to show up. And I've seen a lot of speakers, and as a speaker coordinator, that speakers that I have booked, when the room wasn't what they thought, I see people not show up, and that's when things go bad. So you still have to show up. I still send my thank you notes, and I really did appreciate them for letting me take time out of their day, or for them taking time to come and listen to me. And when it's that small, I usually try to give as much as I possibly can, because it's a small room, and I do very well with very small rooms. And big rooms are very different, and you have to just bring a different energy. Now, the next day, I did a speaking gig that night, and I did another gig the next day, which required a different energy, completely different energy, because it was after dinner. And when people got wine in them and carbs, you have to go into a different type of you to keep people interested, because people are like half asleep, like, yeah. That's how people are after they get wine and carbs in them. And, and you can't be boring. You pretty much have to be an after dinner speaker. So that was my epic fail. I know it was, and I spelled behind the scenes so completely wrong. Oh my gosh, I feel like, sorry. Let me go and change that, because that is going to drive me nuts. Obviously I can't, spell today. So there you go. So let me Yeah. So hopefully that changed. I don't know if it did change. Oh, it's Saturday, folks. It's Saturday. So I spelled behind the scenes. So please don't criticize me or think I'm crazy because I spelled behind the scenes. And if you didn't see it, don't worry about it. So that's all I have for you today. So that's the behind the scenes, and and I and I'm gonna let you know I'm thinking about launching a program. I had a very long talk yesterday with a friend about getting speaking gigs, and I'm not doing a coaching program. I'm thinking about doing some type of accountability because there's so many of you who have backed yourselves into a financial corner when it comes to money, and you need to make a change right now. And this talk, like really, like yesterday, it really inspired me because I've been speaking, and maybe I'll talk about this next week. But after I've had 17, 15 speaking gigs so far this year, and the things that people tell me after we talk when it comes to money and when it comes to like really trying to get out there, it's really been inspiring me to kind of do something because I want to help all of you. I really, really do. And I hear these stories of people who want to be speakers and they want to change everything. They want to bring in clients through speaking, but they are also in $200,000, $100,000 worth of debt, $12,000 worth of debt. Their spouse is just mad at them. They're frustrated. They're overwhelmed. And I want to do something. And I have an idea of what I want to do. And I want to launch something, and it's not going to be epically cheap, but I want to make it so that you don't have to think about paying for it. Because I really want you to change. If you want to change your finances, if you want to make big changes in your business, and the best way I know how to do is through speaking. That's just the way I've been doing it. I'm not a social media person. I'm not a content person. I want to be able to help you sit down and be able to do this. So I'm thinking of starting something. Give me a few days, and I'm going to talk about it probably on Monday, because what I am learning that if you want to get more gigs on your calendar, if you want to get more clients from speaking, if you want to get paid as a speaker, if you want your business to do well, you're going to have to be relentless. You're going to have to be relentless in what you're doing out there. And I'm going to work on that theme because I really do want to help you. I seriously want to help you because I've had so many people that come up to me. If I could tell you all the stories of people that talk to me after speaking gigs and the things that I hear was going on behind money, and I do get so epically pissed off when I hear that people are paying $24,000, $34,000 in coaching, $50,000, and none of the promises are met. And now they are in a financial situation that they can't recover from. It really does bother me because I hear these stories, and one thing that I know, hey Mia, how you doing? The one thing that I do know is that your finances it's a game that you really can't play with that much, especially as a business owner. You can't play with your personal and business finances too much. You can invest, you can be positive about things, but I also know the other side, and that's why I talk about money in a way so that you can really understand. I see the other side. I hear the stories of the other side of the game when the finances go so epically wrong for business owners. So I'm going to put something out there so that I can help you focus, get rid of all the crap, and focus on what you really need to be doing to feed your budget so that we can manage it properly. So give me a couple of days. I got to still brainstorm what I think that is. But my goal here, when I say that I really want to help you, I really do. I just got to figure out a way so that I'm not too tired helping you all the time. So that's what I'm going to do. So let me go ahead and sign off here on Instagram first. So for all of you who watch the replay on Instagram, thank you so very much. It was behind the scenes and I was just talking. So I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. We'll talk about personal finances, and check the post because I'm going to talk about what's coming up for the next week. So see you soon. See you tomorrow. Happy budgeting. For those of you here on Facebook, I'm going to go sign off soon. Hey Elisa, how you doing? Mia's good morning from Portland. Great to get my budgetologist fixed today. Yay. Hey, good morning, Elisa and Mia. Thank you so very much. So And Tiffany, thank you for joining. So, as you know, all of you, I appreciate every last one of you for giving me a bit of your Saturday morning. So, if you're coming in late, I talked about my most recent epic speaking gig fail, and it was all on me for not doing my research properly. So, yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. And then I'm gonna tell you about and I started talking about a conversation that I had last night that is really inspiring me to do something to help all of you that need to be a little bit more relentless in what you're doing to change your financial life. So give me some time to really think about it because I really do want to help you. I really do. And we got to figure out a way to do it. Yes, I am a happy hour lover, Mia. There you go. So for Anne, Heather, Beatrice, Angela, Lori, Paige, Carol Ann, Rachel, Sally, Kevin, Tiffany, Mia, Elisa, for those of you who will watch the replay, thank you so very much. For those of you who have left a review, I appreciate every last one of you. Hopefully I've been helpful. And this is the anniversary week, so I'm not going to celebrate the anniversary anymore. So coming to you live for a year has been pretty crazy. And next Saturday, I think I'll actually tell you what the first half of the year has been like speaking and some of the stories that I actually do here after I speak and what's been driving me the last few. Hey, Pamela Meyer, how you doing? And what's been driving me to come up with something to help you in a big and epic way. So I'll work on that this weekend. No more margaritas for me. I went to sleep too early last night. So take care. Happy budgeting. I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. I'm not sure what we'll talk about, but I'll put a post out there so you'll know what we're going to talk about for the week. It's going to be around money. Shocking. So have an amazing day. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Bye.